Did I set them up? Yeah, I did it. Where is it? Okay. Hi, folks. We might be struggling for a moment. We're having a technical issue. There we go. Technical issue is over. Hi, everybody. Yay for no more technical issues. And we'll get Instagram in right now. Yes. Welcome, Instagram. It is alive. Yes, it is. April 29th, 2026. Let's talk. What are we drinking? Oh, what are you drinking?
I'm just drinking coffee.
I'm drinking astragalus, burdock root, bacopa, because, why not have a brain today? And lemon balm. Yeah, a little chill out, a little happiness. I like it. And what are we wearing? I did not put on any scarves today, but look, we had new jewelry come in. Look at the labradorite with the rooted thing. This claims to be a rose quartz. I'm going to tell you now it's a cut clear quartz. I think somebody put this in the sun before we got it. I'm just letting you know now. It's beautiful. It's very pretty. I do not see rose anymore. Just letting you know. Speaking of new stuff that's come in, here is some of the other jewelry that came in from those guys. Some of the pendants. There's other necklaces on there too. They do sterling silver work and they work exclusively in sterling, but because that price for that metal is tripled recently, they are looking at alternatives. So I don't know what I'm going to get coming in. But I do have some wonderful local craftsmanship here. I'll save that for last. From Probably Daryl. You know him. He's one of our readers here. We have a new style of pendulum. This is $20. I love these. Let me show you, since I brought them in. Let me show you the fab pendulums. Oh, evil eye on the top of there. This one's got a planchette, which is that thing that you use with a Ouija board at the top. Oh, love these. So these are going out today on the floor. We have to receive them. We have to do all the paperwork, but they're coming out. I also have, by the way, in case you want to do some serious work, Eshu here has collected some railroad spikes. This one is still from New Orleans, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
It's the last one from New Orleans, but there will be more. But I'm from New Orleans, so you'll still be getting the same effect.
Yeah. We'll get some local ones in too. And of course, the tar water that you've been putting together. Look at that cute packaging. That packaging is by Liz, and I'm not speaking in the third person. There are two people who work here named Liz. We're both white ladies with dark curly hair with a little gray and glasses. I'm sorry. It's hard to distinguish us verbally with a description, but this is in. Packaging is great. The product is great. And I'll let you explain why I want to buy tar water today.
Okay, they use tar water down in Louisiana. This is actually a family recipe I use with a little bit of brick dust in it, with also a little bit of Florida water, but also black walnut is the main ingredient in here. Black walnut we use for stripping negative energy, negative attachments, and you don't need very much. One of these could last you up to a year. You can just use very little bits at a time. A little bit goes a long way. And so one thing is, when you're washing with it, you want to wash downward, not pulling upwards, because you're pulling back up that negativity. You want to go as above, so below, so going up, down, elbow down, you know what I'm trying to say. But what this is also good for is also kind of cleaning other energies in your house. I even put it in some of my cleaning mixtures when I'm dealing with it, like my spring cleaning, for instance. You want to be able to use that and then rinse it off with regular water afterwards, because it does leave a black residue. I'm not going to lie. It's very powerful. It's very strong, but it's also one of those that you do kind of want to be able to wipe off afterwards, because it will leave. It can stain. However,
black walnut is used to dye the heads of drums. So it's diluted in this. It's not going to be that strong, but it's still there and it's still going to have an effect.
Exactly. And so that's why that's why what we use in with our family mixture is pretty much what's all in here. All the ingredients are on here for you to look at, and it's only $15. So
it's a good deal. And I'm just going to add about black walnut. One of my favorite things about that tree is that it tolerates no crap from anyone, not even its own children. This is why there is black walnut husk to do this with. They have to grow a rind around them that is super thick. Imagine a walnut that looks this big because it's in a green round pile of stuff. Because if it doesn't bounce away far enough from mom and dad, it's not going to make it.
Nope.
Nothing grows under a walnut tree. It does not take crap from anybody.
Nope.
So if you're in that position, this is your item.
Exactly. If you're dealing with curses, anything, hex removal, anything like that, you will use this. One warning, though, is if you do not want to do it at the beginning of the day because it literally strips everything. So you want to do it at night or especially even around like a new moon era, well, the new moon timing.
Yeah.
And then it will let you go to sleep. So you kind of generate your own energy throughout that evening and then you'll be fine throughout the next day.
Yeah. No, it's fabulous stuff.
Yes.
Now I should talk about what's coming up before we get to talking. So the next events coming up here. There's two big events on Friday, this Friday, May Day. The first one is a memorial for the people who have died either in ICE custody or at the hands of ICE outside of ICE custody. I have not checked this week yet, but the last time I checked, it was 98 people since the inception of ICE. This is a very simple ritual to commemorate their lives and give them some value from our communities. And this is just, there's going to be a candle with a name and a death date. We're going to say their name, we're going to light the candle, and then we're going to move to the next person, say their name, light the candle. It's at least 98 names at this point. It's going to take a minute, but we'll leave those candles up and burning until they go out at some point during the day. And you can come and visit either while we're doing it, or you can come and visit immediately afterwards and see what's the candles burning. This room is going to get warm. I'm telling you now. We're going to have a little bonfire. 100 tiny little candles going to make some heat. I'm telling you now.
Oh, yes.
But that's a lot of energy we can raise to hopefully ease those people in their passage from this world, from this life. The other event is we're going to be doing the full moon right after we close. And we've had several people sign up for that, and thank you for letting us know you're coming so we know to look out for you. But yeah, we're going to be having some fun with that. If you want to participate, you're welcome to sign up and let us know you're coming, but it's a food and drink to share kind of event. We'll do a little ritual. We'll have a little nosh. We'll have a little chat. Robes are encouraged, not required. Heck, I still don't have circle robes. I've been wearing my bathrobe. I have a big fuzzy blue one that I've been wearing. So you don't have to be fancy.
I don't even own one. So.
Yeah. I've had them over the years. They just wear out eventually. They just, one of them is worn out and I've outgrown it. It would be really interesting for me to try to wear it now. We're not doing that. But both of those events are coming up on Friday. On Saturday.
Oh, yes. My hoodoo and folk magic class. So yes, and that will be this Saturday, correct? So,
at 3:00. Yeah, that is going to be so. We will talk about that again in a moment.
Yes.
The next day on Sunday, we have Gateway to the Gods. So if you're interested in little meditation work with the help of an entheogenic herb, we'll talk about that herb and its properties and its folklore. You can have a sample of it, a beginner level sample of it, while you're participating in the class. We take a little break, then we come back and do a guided meditation, because if you've taken the sample, you might want to know how it affects you. And that guided meditation helps you push that experience as far as you can. And then you know if it's the right one for you, because different people respond differently to different entheogenic herbs. And what is an entheogenic herb? The definition is actually an herb that will help you see God. Take that as you will. I should also mention Herbs 1 is on Tuesday nights right now, and Herbs 3 is on Wednesday nights right now. Two great crews. I'm really enjoying teaching them. But this is a 9-month, 3 years, like 9 months for 3 years in a row kind of class. And my year 1s are in, they're loving it. My year 3s are in, they're loving it. And I like only being here 2 nights a week. So we're going to keep that cycle going, frankly. I'm a poor widow, and I do have a teenage son to raise. So, and on Saturday, the 9th at noon, the Alliance Coven folk will be here doing their 102 class. This is not an open event. It's a one-time thing for us with them. But if you want to meet the people who are running Alliance Coven and see if maybe that's a group you might be interested in attending their 101 class, they get done around 2. So 2:00 is a good time to be here to maybe say hi to those folks, ask them any questions you might have about their group, and just see when they might be doing their 101 class again. Really nice trio of people. I highly recommend coming down and meeting them if you're interested in exploring various group options. The same is true for the Friday crew, this Friday for the ritual, different groups. And later that day on Saturday the 9th at 3:30, tea and tarot. We've got some black tea, we've got some cups, we've got the hot water in the hallway. Bring a deck if you've got one. If you're just curious, if you're a beginner, if you are experienced, there's going to be a hands-on portion, and they'll be covering a part of the tarot deck in that class. This is a class that's taught by several of our tarot readers. Raven Wolf will be taking this coming class, and then the next time it'll be Margaret, and that will be fun too. So I'm really looking forward to those. The last note I have on my fabulous crib sheet here is parking. I must mention parking. You can't always park in front of our shop. It's free. The on-street parking is absolutely free in this neighborhood, which is fabulous. But if you are having a hard time finding a spot to park so that you can come into the store, you could opt to go online, magisbooks.com. But we also have an agreement with St. Clement's Catholic Church for you to park in their parking lot. You will naturally park very far away from the actual church because you want to come to us, and we're north of the parking lot, and the church is on the south end of the block that parking lot's on. To get to the parking lot, when you get to our intersection of Central and Lowry, you want to go 1/2 block west on Lowry Avenue, and it'll be a left turn to get into the parking lot. They own the entire, what I would call the back side of the parking lot, the part of the block, the part of the block that is not on Central, it's on the next street over. They own the entire side of the block. So that parking lot is them. It's free to park in for now. That might be changing. It might become a low-end pay lot. It won't be expensive if they do choose to go with a pay lot, but it's just going to be, if they go with a pay lot, it's just going to be so they can afford to retar, repaint, maybe make some other improvements to that parking lot. It could use it. It could use the help, frankly. So good on them if that's what they opt to do. But that's all my lovely announcements. So now it's all about you, sir.
Okay, so yes.
Oh, I forgot one. I'm sorry. One more. Sorry. I'm looking at a tarot reader realizing, have I talked about the tarot readers and the other No, I have not. So let's talk about it quick. Today, you're here.
Yes, from 12 to 6.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And you're here tomorrow.
No, not tomorrow.
Not tomorrow? Okay.
Saturday from 12 to 3 before my hoodoo class, and then also 12 to 6 on
Sundays.
Yes.
Okay. So Daryl's going to be in tomorrow.
Yes, that's Daryl.
So that's Daryl's spot now. So Daryl will be in Thursday for the first part of the afternoon from noon to 3 with his Oracle deck, which if you have not seen is a treat. I recommend getting the free tour of it. And he's an uncannily good reader.
Yes, he really is.
He surprises himself a lot, which is always a good sign, I think. He will also be in again on Monday, just from noon to 2, and on Tuesday from 3 to 6. Raven Wolf will be in on Thursday for the last half of the afternoon from 3 to 6, and he's here from 1 to 4 on Friday, and Tuesdays noon to 3. Margaret, the adorable Margaret, is only here from 3 to 6 on Saturdays. If you want a reading from her, you've got to come down then.
She's amazing.
She is. She's absolutely brilliant. And of course, Morpheus does dream interpretation, if that's your bag, from 2 to 6 on Mondays. So check him out as well if you get a chance, especially if you are stuck with interpreting a dream. Maybe you looked up the meanings and they're like, they are insane to you. He's actually really good at sussing out what it probably actually means and gives you something to really chew on mentally and let you work out what the meaning of the dream is. He's really good at helping you figure it out in a way that's personal to you and not the generic meaning of the thing. But let's talk about your fabulous readings, classes, products. You have everything.
Yes, I'm a little bit of a jack of all trades. I did have to take some time for myself these last couple of months because, well, like a lot of people, I had seasonal affective disorder. And so things are starting to pick up again. The hoodoo class, I actually, my first class was more going into the history because it's American hoodoo and folk magic, which is different from voodoo. It's not the same. But my upcoming class will be more getting into the mixtures and also doing the candles, conjure working, and certain prayers and beliefs that we've also, and collective beliefs that we've all been practicing over the years and even up into today. So that is going to, and I do also teach a palmistry class because I did take over on that one. That one I missed the last week, but I will be doing the up and coming one. That will be next month. At the end of the month.
pinch
So-
it for you. It was fun.
Thank you so much.
No worries.
But yes, since I had to take a break from social media and had to get myself back up together. So that's really what that was. I'm just being honest.
Yeah,
But
no,
yes.
it's important to take care of yourself.
And that's another thing I even also will be discussing actually in my next class, because if we are pouring from an empty cup, it will just end up draining us even more. And so how that affects us spiritually, and also it even affects the way we will even practice. And if you're doing it that way, it can, I'm not a necessarily believer in karma, but more of a cause and effect, ripples and clapbacks.
Yeah.
And that's actually going to be something that I'll be discussing in my up and coming classes as well. So yes, my readings, I'm actually going to be talking to her about bringing in runes because into my divination, because Daryl actually made me a very wonderful set, and I really do actually have been building up my confidence again with working on that. So that's another service I will be adding, because I do tarot, palms. I also do tea leaf readings, but I haven't brought any of that in yet.
There's a whole setup we would need.
Yes, there's a whole lot more that goes with all of that. So it's really one of those where it's something I don't really offer here so much. Yeah. And but yeah, that's pretty much it with me. So I have but that's pretty much everything I'm working on. And anything that you want to know about, feel free to ask me about too. Okay.
Yeah, no, those are important skills. And I should say, everyone who reads here has auditioned for every modality they offer.
Exactly.
Sometimes they are cursory auditions. For example, you were reading tarot here and you said, "Oh, I can do palmistry." And I went, "Okay, audition."
Yep.
3 minutes. And it's like, yeah, you know what you're doing. We're good.
Exactly. And so that's one of those things I'll also be doing and I went with the palmistry class, and I'm going to be expanding and making more products too, because I actually do have some brick dust from New Orleans that I have here at the store. I just don't have the packaging for it yet. But once I do, that will also be on the floor. I am going to be getting more railroad spikes, and I'm also going to be, that's going to be another thing in my hoodoo classes, is teaching people what you can do with the railroad spikes, because believe me when I say they have multiple purposes, multiple meanings, and that would take me more than this live to get into. So yes, there's going to be a lot more coming up now that spring has come on, and now we're getting into the warmer weather months. So therefore, I'm definitely really more looking forward and very enthused about all of that as well.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good spring and summer.
Oh yes, definitely with everything coming on, because even though yes, we are in some very hard times politically, but also spiritually, there is so much also going on that really is building us up and helping us remember that we are a lot more powerful than we even give our own credit for.
Exactly.
And so that's something that is going to be really much so a part of the things that I'm doing, teaching, and also working with over this time.
And I absolutely think we're seeing a revival of spirituality and religiosity, if only because when we first opened up here and I asked St. Clement's Catholic Church if I could park in their parking lot and my staff could park in their parking lot, just because I wanted a stable place to park.
Right.
We weren't struggling at the end of the night. We've had a long day. I'm like, where did I park? Oh no, where did I park? Oh. And they very graciously said yes. And we're grateful for that. And I've made a donation to help cover parking costs, which is lovely. When I first started, one of the things they said, well, if the parking lot is full on a Sunday because of mass, or super full, don't park there. And I would drive up at exactly the hour that mass would be. And I'm not exaggerating, 5 cars in this significant parking lot. It's getting to the point where it's getting full, where I actually probably won't park there on Sundays anymore because there are enough parishioners driving in now that it makes sense. It did not make sense a year ago.
Right. That's another thing. Spirituality is making a huge boom again. And there's good and bad that comes with all of that. But then also another thing that I'm seeing is, as long as it's coming from your right intention, it doesn't matter what it is, as long as you can find the similarities rather than constantly looking at the differences, which I have noticed big thing on social media is focusing on the differences and focusing on the things that divide us. And the one thing is, it all comes and leads to the same place. And that's really why you have to look at that with, especially with my hoodoo and folk magic classes. Those will talk more about so many different other beliefs rather than just, it's yes, African spirituality, but also Irish spirituality. It goes into even the stuff that people practice in the Appalachians, because I'm related to so many different types of people. This all comes from family practices, but it also comes from my travels and also the people I've met along the way. And that's really one of those things. My core thing in my classes are always talking about the unity, not the hangups and the differences. And it should be more welcoming and more inclusive. And that is one thing I am starting to finally see, even in other communities and even a little bit more online. People are starting to finally come together, because that's just it. It's not always about love and light. It's more about authenticity, but really it is about finally seeing that underneath all of this, these are just meat suits and these are temporary. It's who we are on the inside. And that is why we find those connections. And that's what my biggest thing's always been.
I think it's funny you say that, because this week's Monday meditation was about taking off the masks and seeing what's underneath and letting that light shine through all of the masks that one wears through the day. Because you behave differently with family than you do with workmates, than you do with your really good friends that you hang out with, than you do with, whatever, like religious practices and those people. And it's not intentional, and you're not, trying to do anything nefarious. It's just the best social practices in each of those groups is naturally going to be a little different.
Right.
And so different aspects of you get shine in each of those places.
Exactly.
And I use the Preston stuff in each of those places, different things in each of those places.
Exactly.
And so, figuring out what's underneath it all. I think that's the core. I think that's the key.
And that was actually a major revelation that I was even having all of this time, because, I've always practiced along the ancestral line, but something also finally hit me, because even my beliefs have changed over these last couple of years. And that's when I realized it's not to work with those ancestors permanently. It's to actually even sometimes help them move on, and also stages of our life that we will also be able to sometimes work through. And then they go their way and we go our way, becoming a better person for it. And also it's a collective of all of those beliefs. And that is what we're really healing. It's not really your responsibility to go heal all of your family's problems. Believe me, that's a cycle in itself, and you'll be stuck coming back here for eternity trying to fix things you didn't break. But it's who we are in the inside, the parts of us that we were broken and starting to finally put together. And then there's some parts of us that shatter and break we're not supposed to put back on there. It leaves. That's part of the evolution. That's part of those changes that we all go through. And it's been something where I've always been about practicing what I preach and following my own advice, especially these last couple of years. And believe me when I say it's sometimes daunting and even maddening. Sometimes. But that's the other thing about it. It becomes beautiful because we're supposed to grow. We're not supposed to stay exactly the same. And there's some people who will go against that grain, especially when you're seeing more Abrahamic religions. All of those are telling you those are evil. They're not supposed to have that, and think for yourself. You need to stay in this. And to me, that's so limiting. And that's another thing. People have been really bringing their religious ideas into these spiritual practices. And it's really about unlearning a lot of that. And really starting to finally see what resonates. Take what you need out of it and leave the rest behind. And that's one thing that I really do love, especially moving up here and seeing such a different practice up here, because it's so much different than it is down in New Orleans. You'll see that major hoodoo and belief system. They don't really stray outside of that there. But then I come up here, it brought culture shock, but it also helped me go down to my roots and figure out who I was. And that's one thing I love being able to share with people in these classes and these groups. And especially with the redivination that I've been doing, because a lot of my clients are people that actually I met down in New Orleans who lived up here. And that's kind of what ended up bringing me up here. Like today, for instance, one of my clients that's from New Orleans, actually lives up here and will be coming in with her family.
Yay.
So that's, that's one thing I definitely love to talk about, especially now, because this is what's needed the most in spirituality is having that unity and that unity consciousness, and how a lot of people will stray away from that because of certain words, but don't let the words always become your hang up, because
it's the mask.
Exactly. It's a part of the mask. It's not about wearing the mask anymore. It's about taking those off, because we come into this world as a blank canvas. And that's really what it is. And staying in your authenticity makes you a warrior in this time. And that doesn't mean that you're there to fight the wars. You're ending those wars by actually being that warrior, which I actually was posting about on my way here when I was drawing some runes in fact. So
very cool.
Yeah, so it was really about finally understanding that we really are just a blank canvas, and as we get older, we become a part of that, which is art in itself.
Yeah, which means for me, it has always meant being a little cautious about who gets into that inner circle of friends, because I have to be conscious that I might mimic their behaviors, and I want to learn good things from people.
And that's exactly why I had to leave Facebook, is because I was starting to notice I was becoming just as nasty, just as divisive about the things that I didn't like. And that's really one of those things. You start to notice how easy it is to get wrapped up into that divisive way of thinking. And then you think, oh, well, my point's a good one, so I have to argue and force them to see how I'm seeing things, which just makes them push back and double back even more.
Yeah.
But one thing I was, especially when the pandemic started down in New Orleans, I was reading people from all walks of life. Once I actually was able to really connect with them on a one-on-one basis, some of those people were wearing MAGA hats. Some of those people were really nasty, like those people online, but they would break down that mask once you make that connection. And then you start to realize, wait, we're all in this together. And therefore, I'm not saying that you have to go and like those people.
No.
Trust me, it's not that easy. But once you can finally get past all of that and really see that we have more things in common than not, that's how you get through to them. You're not going to get through to them screaming to them on social media. And that's really why I finally was like, you know what? I need to take a break from all of this, especially after things I saw from my family. And I was like, you know something? This isn't going to help if I fight them. But once I removed myself from it, all this creativity and energy came back. All these things that I wanted to write about started to come back. And so that's really one of those things, starting to finally take a step out, start really observing ourselves. And it's not about beating ourselves up. No, it's more about finally understanding, okay, it's very easy to get wrapped up into this divisive way of thinking. Let's change that way of thinking.
Well, and after all, if you are on your own journey where you're discovering what lies behind the masks and what constitutes a mask, what are the pieces that you can let go and just keep the conceptual pieces of, they're on the same journey, and you have to give them the grace to take that journey at their pace in their own way and recognize they're not going to come to the same decisions that you will, because they're not you.
Right. And that's just it. You cannot force somebody to see from your perspective. And that's a big thing that I've seen in religion. The religious aspect is trying to make people see the same thing, feel the same thing, and see it the same way. And honestly, that doesn't always work. And that's really why, because you understand that term religion means to bind and control. And it doesn't matter what that is, it still is being bound and putting all these limits on you. When I'm all about spiritual sovereignty. Yes, we honor tradition. Yes, we have respect for those things, but you also have to have your own discernment of what is working for you and what doesn't work. And that's a huge thing in the hoodoo belief system. It's more about it's not the religion as opposed to voodoo. And the hoodoo is the spiritual practice, which comes from, you can have all sorts of different beliefs. That's one of those things that always made me laugh when somebody said you can't be a Christian and be a witch at the same time. I'm like, do you see that people in hoodoo, you'll use psalms and all sorts of stuff? Granted, they were different terms, yes, like mysticism rather than it being witchcraft. But you'll still see that there's a lot of similarities.
A lot of the same praxis. And that's actually one of the things I took from my training in the religion that I practice, is that the group I was in was very orthopraxic and not orthodoxic, which meant that, okay, you went through the initiation. No one told you what it meant, They turned around and asked you what you thought it meant.
Mm-hmm.
And now you have a conversation.
Right.
Because you're going to have different interpretations and different impressions and different emotions and responses. And it matters. And it matters that yours is actually your response.
Mm-hmm.
Not mine, not yours,
Exactly.
but your response. That's the value of it. Otherwise, why do it?
Exactly. That's just one thing, is spirituality is a very personal thing. I mean, yes, there's going to be similarities on that path. And I think that it's good to have, like what you have with in your religion, is more fellowship. People are coming together. They have similar but not the exact same experiences.
Yes.
And that's really one thing I look at is very beautiful, when you can find people on that level to connect. But then you'll see, because one thing I've noticed, especially because voodoo made such a huge comeback, because, well, American Horror Story, let's be very honest about that. And then so many people decided to take it from this using media concepts. Yeah. And that's really what the problem was. It is a closed practice, but it doesn't mean that it's closed off because of because of your skin color. It's closed off because that it's a tradition that's been passed down. It should be honored and respected. Yeah. It's not like TV tells you. It's not about sticking pins in a doll, and it's definitely does not come from even like the serpent and the rainbow. Yeah. Still is something that will go off of the fear. Yes. And when you take it through fear, of course, negative things are going to come happening with you. And of course, those people who are telling you that you need to pay them $15,000 for some initiation are not living very happy and even happy lives. It's because they're taking it from a media perspective. Yeah. And then you'll hear people using, even in areas where they say, well, I went to college, this is what it says. There's some things that are not going to be in a textbook. It can't be taught. It's who you are. Yeah. But it also is finding that fellowship and people you have a common ground with. And that is what should be remembered about all of these belief systems, is also because they were all on their own different islands, different continents, you'll see in a lot of similarities, and you'll even see a lot of those different belief systems will even have the same deities, and like the Orisha, the Loa, but they'll also even connect to things that are in European belief systems. Yeah. It's just because it was just geographical at that time. But there was a time we were all connected, and they kept that through word of mouth, through all of those experiences. And I'm also a believer in reincarnation. And so we're not our meat suits. There's so much more that we were and we're connected to. And so it all comes down to nature and our personal spiritual archetypes, and even down to our personality. And that's one of those things, especially when I work with Liz now. Her and I have a lot of those very similar beliefs. And even though we're on a completely different path, there's still similar.
It's weird. It's incredible. Yeah. I accept it. I love it. But it's incredibly weird.
Yes, it is. Definitely.
There's the simpatico there that's just amazing. Even when we're feeling negative, we can help each other up, but we have to stop.
Definitely. And there's been times that we will even deflect off each other, and it's like, okay, we need to go this way.
We both realize that we both go. It's wonderful.
It's amazing. I love it because of that. But then it's also being able to have that recognition and being able, because a lot of this stuff comes with a lot of introspection and realizing everything that we are angry at or having these reactions to, there's a part of us that definitely, it's something that would sit within us that we have to look at and really take inventory of. And that's one thing about taking all of these spiritual paths. For myself personally, it's not something that you can do spiritually bypassing. You have to take a look at who you are, because that's when I moved down to Louisiana and with my family and really got into the Loa, the Orishas. It held up a huge mirror. And believe me when I say I did not like some of the stuff that I saw. But at the same time, it helped me learn more about myself. And especially like you'll look at it kind of like with astrology even. People who try to say, oh, it's because of my sign. Those are not cop-outs. Those are things that we need to work on. Yep. So that's just it. They're not excuses. And that's why you have to kind of take it in with yourself. Everything that you're being drawn to, everything that's actually coming out to you, it's because there's a part of you that it's telling that you need to work on. And it doesn't mean that you have to practice that permanently. No. It just means that, hey, there's something here and here. There's a message in here for everyone.
It's a piece that with my herb students, I will mention usually near the end of year one. If you're working with somebody, you have a client or something, or a friend in your real life, or a family member in your real life, and they just get completely under your skin and really piss you off, take a step back. Because I can almost guarantee it's because you do the thing that they do that pisses you off. And you're not making the connection yet, but your subconscious is. Your subconscious is trying to tell you, hey, cut that out. It's really annoying. See how annoying it is when somebody else does it? Stop doing this now.
Oh, yeah. Especially even on a personal level, my partner, we're 2 weeks apart in our birthdays, and everything I cannot stand about him is actually things that I couldn't stand about myself. We really are identical in a lot of ways. So that's why it's sometimes it's okay it's great to be with your astrological twin. Other times, not so much, because because sometimes you're really seeing who you are and all of those things that you don't like about yourself. But actually, that's been a very big growing lesson for me, and especially working as a diviner, because a lot of the time when people are coming in with that way of thinking, I can tell them what it is without being mean and without cutting them down. And it actually even saying, because everybody I read, there's a connection with there's something that's a similarity. That's why you can say, oh, I've been where you are, or I even am working on this myself. And that's really what that is. You'll see that soul and deeper connection with people.
Well, and truly, I've had friends that this has happened with. I am so grateful for those people in my life because I became a better person. I hope they did too. I don't always know. In one case, one particularly striking case in my life, that individual has passed away. So, I may never know quite fully how much it affected them and how much they might have changed. But I will always be grateful to that person because I know that knowing them and getting periodically really annoyed by them ultimately made me a better person.
Oh, yeah.
Because I looked at it and went, oh, I do that. I have to cut it out now. I'm sorry, everybody.
Exactly. My biggest thing was always not liking people who had to make everything about them. And then I realized, oh, wait, I'm making all of this about me. This is why I'm so angry and jealous of this person. That's what this is. And that's just it. It's taking that mirror, and it's really hard to take a look at yourself like that. But that's why it says you have to be easier on yourself. This is more about finally forgiving yourself, because you can't always forgive those people who do us wrong. You can't always forgive certain things. But once you can finally see it within yourself, you can finally start healing. And believe me, it's not always easy. Healing can be very painful, but it's still necessary, and it's still a part of our growth. And because we're always changing, that means that the whole field of opportunity for improvement is always changing. Exactly.
But so are the opportunities to shine. And it does balance out and to be beneficent, to be the person who brings the good into the situation rather than be the person who brings the negative in. So you always have those chances and opportunities, I think. I know we've been kind of harping on the bad side, but there's good parts too.
There's a lot of very good parts about it. And actually, even with the bad stuff that we're talking about, you can see the beauty in all of that too. Because that's a part of what the polarity is. Everything has its light and darkness. Nothing is truly good or evil per se. It's just more about how you're looking at it. And that's really why when you can hold up that mirror and see all of those things, that means you can also see the beautiful things as well. And that means that you can actually see all the areas of growth. And that's why you'll see in a lot of tarot cards, you'll see a lot of lotus flowers, which also represents that change. It can also represent that metamorphosis that we're all going through. And that's just it. With that, you can see that internal growth, but sometimes even the lotus flower ain't so pretty either. And that's why you have to find the kind of look at it from that point. The good, the bad, all of it. And that's just it. When you can finally get those similarities, that's when you'll see growth. That's when you see the warrior. That's when you realize you're not fighting this war, you're ending that war. You're within yourself.
Exactly. That is beautiful. Well, we're just about out of time. We have just gone on, and I've enjoyed the conversation. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
And from myself and everyone else who works here at Megas Books, thank you for being your amazing, magical new you. We love that about you. And of course, we love the little magical things you can do right here in social media land.
Exactly.
Hit the like button. You know what I mean. Make the comment. It's all good. And hopefully we'll see you all soon.
Yes.
The short will be up tomorrow. I'll be doing the short live tomorrow for Irby Thursday. And next week we will have another special guest coming in. I believe we've got an author for next week. So we will have lots of fun. We will hopefully see you either here at the shop in Minneapolis or online at megusbooks.com real soon. And if you are interested in the palmistry class or the American Hoodoo and Folk Magic class, the QR code, if you're seeing it on the screen, will take you right to our events page. Otherwise, the banner on the bottom or at the top, depending on the format you're in, will get you to our website too. In the meantime, have a wonderful week, everybody, and blessed be.